Architectural Builders Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
I am at your disposal. What questions can I answer?
Do you have the estimate there in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's pre-finished cherry. Well, it's maple, but it's finished in the cherry color. What do they put on it? Do they put on there a clear a cherry stain with polyurethane or something?
Well, okay. So the details of what you're looking at are based on our conversation, and like the clear coat or the finishing, while it wasn't exactly discussed as in I would do it, the ad per door is so dirt cheap that you can't pass it up. It's $45 to do a UV finish on it. So the point of the matter is you can select any of their standard colors and you can go over it yourself, which you probably would. But to get something done to the door that can't be replicated in the field with their UV process makes for a really great start. So that's because the process of finishing is so durable by means of the technology that's used. That's what that is. It could be any color you want.
Yeah, no, I understand that. You can't beat the factory, but
can't beat the factory finish, no, sir.
Yeah. But is it considered an exterior finish or an interior finish?
Well, it's considered an interior finish. It is made in such a way that it is as durable as can be done on doors that are meant for an interior application. And yeah, you're probably going to end up going over it. But as we've discussed in the past, wood doors that are meant to be used in an interior application won't carry an exterior warranty. Having said that, the way that we've, the core of that material, that structural lumber, it's the best fighting chance you have to get those doors to last for several years. You're going to have to go over the factory finish with whatever means you see appropriate to help, get the job.
Yeah, so you're thinking probably you may be scuffing up the factory finish a little bit and putting a exterior polyurethane on it.
I would go over.
You're thinking.
Yes, sir. I'm not an expert when it comes to finishing, but if it was me, I would go over with a very high triple-digit sandpaper over the clear that's on it, and then I would use my marine grade, my epoxy based, whatever as durable as possible that can be done on all six sides. Not just the two faces. It's the bottom. The bottom and top is more important with two or three coats.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and I see coat the window. And I guess prep for the rim X device. What would that be?
Well, you're going to want the doors to. We had discussed you doing the machining in the field. I priced the doors machined. For the factory to machine for the hinges and an exit device and the flush bolts, you're probably talking about $75 total to the project. So again, it's not worth the money for them not to do it. The only thing is if you say, I would rather machine the stuff in the field than have to go measure the stuff and give you those dimensions. So that's the decision you'd have to make. The finishing, the cutting for the windows, the prepping for the hardware is so inexpensive for the factory to do it because of their equipment. You know, their CNC equipment. It can't be beat.
I understand that. The flush bolts definitely I would have the factory do. The exit device is
that's your bar that you've got on your existing doors.
Right, to know what bar I'm running, I would invite.
I'm sorry, the phone is kind of breaking up. What's the question?
Would they have to know what existing bar I'm going to use?
They would, but based on the photograph, I know what device you have.
Okay.
And yeah.
I'm just kind of confirming a few things that I had questions on. You know.
Yeah. Also, the strike plate that's installed on the inactive door is just wrong altogether, and that's why you've got that. You know, the door is not going to secure very positively, and that's why there's the damage on the inactive door. So you would need the proper surface-mounted strike for that. You wouldn't do a new installation and reuse that strike, that black roller strike that's there.
Yeah. Okay. And then, you know, I had questions on the weather stripping. Maybe I should look the Dorbin 97 AS up.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be helpful to look at that. But the Dorbin 97, that is in essence an aluminum channel that would look like a T-slot. In the T-slot is going to slide your pile weather stripping. The edges of the door would be mortised to receive that, so that when you install the assembly, you've got nothing but the pile sticking out of the edge of the door. So it's really elegant. It seals the door, nothing surface mounted. It goes right between the doors. The 97AS is that principle, except that there is a spring that is incorporated into the design that goes underneath the channel, the aluminum extrusion, the T-slot looking thing, and the mortise that's been done in the door, so that over time you can tailor how tight those screws are to draw that pile in a little more, or to loosen them up and let it come out a little bit, so you can maintain that over the life expectancy of the opening. So that's what that does. Because those doors in 2 years are not going to be square anymore.
Right. And then we have the mortise for the door, automatic auto door bottoms too. What would that be?
So in the bottom of the door, we would route for an automatic door bottom. It would be a piece of equipment that would get mortised into the bottom of the door. You would install it into the bottom of the door so that every time the door closes, the seal drops and seals against your threshold. Every time the door opens, it snaps back up into the housing.
That's not. And what clearance do I give to the threshold?
The automatic door bottoms can basically go from, basically 0 up to about 1 inch, and there's an option for even taller ones, but your undercut would certainly not be approaching 1 inch.
Yeah. But just like a standard 8 to a quarter or something like that would be fine. 3/8,
yeah. 7/16, 3/16, yes, sir.
Okay, and let's see, and then on the hardware we got the hinges, we got the weather stripping.
Yeah, everything from Dorbin 97AS all the way down to the Dorbin D-CS. That's door bottoms, perimeter gasketing, the pile for the perimeter, for the sealing of the edges of the door. just that's a belt and suspenders approach to buttoning up those doors. Then after that, you've got kick plates. You either want them or you don't. Brand new doors, brand new kick plates probably. The hinges on the first line, that part number is for a heavyweight hinge. It would be for a hinge that's meant for the size of the door and for the frequency of use that it'll get. So it's a heavier version. It's 190 thousandths leaf thickness. After that, the two strikes that you need, because at least the one that's in the picture is the wrong strike. That strike is for a single door, and they have a different strike that's used for a double door. I think you had mentioned needing to hold open the doors, and the most elegant approach, I think, is rather than using the kick-down door holders, which you can have, but just change the arms on your closers that you have now to hold open versions. That might be the way to go, so that there's not this extra hardware hanging off the door. May or may not be what you want to see. And then, of course, the flush bolts that are there.
Please.
I'm sorry, sir. Say that again.
Could you put the open door closer on?
You meaning discuss it?
Yeah, I lost you a little bit.
Okay.
I'm thinking about what was there. I can't remember. I can't remember if they were propping it up to hold it open or if it was.
Yeah, they were using a giant rock.
Yeah, so I think I seem to remember that. So that when I kind of lost that.
So what I'm saying is get rid of the giant rock. Change the arms on the existing closers to hold open arms, because your image shows the degree of opening. Let's say it's 120 degree. At that point, you don't have pavement. It's gravel or it's landscaping or whatever is there. Putting a kick-down door holder, you're not going to achieve anything really greater than about 95 degree opening. Plus, you're going to have a trip hazard in the path of egress. So if you can template that door closer to have the hold open point at, say, 140 degrees by changing the arm, now you can get the doors out held open, and you're not, someone's not propping them. Okay, so the call dropped somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, so what you
So the cell connection is not any better.
any good now?
A little bit right there, yes, sir. It was good.
Okay. So the openers, they got to open the door up a little more. What you saying?
No, on the door closer, you would want to change the standard arms to hold open arms so that you can achieve the need to hold the doors open while there are, parishioners, a wedding party, the whole 9 yards, in and out. And I think replacing the arms on the existing closers with hold open arms would be the most elegant way to go.
Okay. So it's a simple thing, just add to the existing opener.
The door closer, yes. The arm would come off. We'd need some more information on it. I'd have to see some up-close pictures of it to determine the type of arm necessary, but that would be the way to go.
I think there's only one on the, believe it or not, there's only one on the active. I think the passive doesn't have anything.
Yeah, sure.
I seem to remember. Yeah. We'd have to add on to both, to the passive one. The corner pads I mentioned, it's just like a blister thing, right?
What was the question?
The corner, that's just like a weather strip type thing.
Oh, the corner pad. Yeah, that's just a self-adhesive small pad that gets mounted at the bottom of the jamb. There's a small amount of leakage that occurs at the bottom of every jamb.
Yep, I'm familiar with that. Yeah. What's the 20-inch consist?
Which one now?
21-inch wood stripping sets.
That's 21 feet. 798 from Reese. That is the Reese 798. That part is a self-adhesive V cushion that would run along the face of the existing frame on the face of the stops. So you would have weather stripping that's attached to the soffit of the frame so that when the doors close, it makes contact. You would have then this material, and that roll, 21-foot roll is about $22. You would put it on the face of the stop so that when the doors closed, you had a seal between the frame itself, the stop of the frame, and the face of the door. It's just simply a belt and suspenders approach.
Right. And yeah, I guess the D69D is
the D69D from Reese. That's probably the perimeter gasketing. Let's take a look. Yeah, D69D is a product that is a relatively small footprint, but has a generous thickness of insert, and that's the perimeter gasketing that would go on the soffit of the frame. That material's an open cell neoprene is what's in it.
So that's going inside the
no, that's going on the stop of the what we would call the soffit. So when the doors are closed, if you look at the stop, you would actually see this product.
Oh, correct. Inside of the stop. If I'm reading right.
It's called the soffit. And let's see. So in one of your photographs, it shows existing weather stripping that runs along the header. It's replacement for that. Whether or not you replace it is, you have to inspect the existing material.
So is it wood or aluminum?
It's an aluminum extrusion with a neoprene insert.
So it's going to be aluminum in color.
I'm sorry, sir. What was the question?
It's going to be bright aluminum.
No, it's dark bronze. It would be dark bronze. It would match better the bronze color that your hardware appears to be.
And what about the Estrapro set?
Let's see. What do we have listed there? Okay, so what is there is because you have an active and inactive door system, what I've got listed there is two pieces of aluminum that would be mounted on the pull side of the opening on the outside. And it's basically an interlocking hook scenario. Not a hook. One is an L-shaped, and the other is an L-shape that's got a U on it, so that when the active door closes, there's a mechanical seal between the active door closing and this L-hook applied to the face of the inactive door. And as a way to not waterproof, but that's a way to mechanically interlock the two doors so that the intrusion of material through the door, water would not penetrate through the seam of the door.
Okay, and that's going to replace the wood Astraco that's on there now?
It certainly would, absolutely. That would completely cover the gap between the two doors. It would not only cover the gap, but it would give you a seal between the two doors. You have an existing astragal. It is a T astragal, is what I think we would call it, and it has a inserted piece of seal on it. So that combination of those two Reese products, the 203 and the 133, would replace that wooden astragal altogether.
Okay.
The integrity of the cell connection is degraded to the point where I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm questioning what finish that comes in.
Well, it comes in aluminum, dark bronze, or gold, and the D is the dark bronze.
Okay. There's nothing for me to show the trustees, right? No pictures or anything about these doors.
Well, I mean, you could. Photographs, no. I will email you the technical data sheet showing the construction of the door. I will include a link to the manufacturer's site so you can see the finish. I will include an attachment of the weather stripping catalog so that you can search through there by the part number and see all of these little components that come together. So that's how I would get you there, basically.
Okay. And installing the glass, that's just a simple. There's probably a couple of screws or something, right? I can order the glass, and I imagine that you take one side out, just pop it in, and then put the flush.
Yeah, so what we would do in our shop if we were glazing it is we would use a brad nailer. One side's going to be fixed, the interior side's going to be loose, everything will be cut and mitered. You'll pop out the sticking, you'll glaze it, drop your glass, glaze it, put your sticking back in, and then use a Senko pneumatic, brad nailer, a nail gun, a brad nailer, right. I should say. Yep.
And that would be half-inch insulated glass.
We could make it for any size glass you want, and that has to be specified. But I think half-inch would be typical. If you wanted to do 1 inch, you could. You could
right.
do 1 inch. I don't think you'd do single pane.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. That you out that like that or with like a bead on it or something, right?
I didn't understand the question.
So originally they were like, we want the same exact doors and stuff, but he recently kind of threw a curveball in and was like, because he was like, you have any pictures of these doors? And I was like, well, it's the same it's the same exact door that you have now. And they were kind of saying, well, maybe they wanted something a little more custom or, dressier. And you don't have anything like that, right?
No, I don't. The world of style and rail doors is its own industry. Nothing that I get into. And that's the term that you're looking for, style and rail. The people who make those doors, the shops we used to deal with, they're just no longer doing it because they can't make any money doing it. Because the doors that were made that way in 1920, making one of those doors today would be a couple grand. You know, so that would not be my area of expertise.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking something along, not with the style and rail, but just with some beadboard or V, tongue and groove
Sure.
board on the exterior.
Sure. So
I don't think,
yeah,
I don't think you even have.
Yeah, you would. Use your imagination. We could cut holes into the doors, and you can drop in, T101 for that matter. You could put anything in there that you wanted. You could put tongue and groove, beadboard. Have your mill worker run up, 30 lineal feet of something and have at it. But it would be all applications. It'd be applied material that you would do.
Yeah. But how would that work when you're dealing with an 1 3/4 door? I mean, I would say my stock was 3/8 or something. You can't really, I can't build out the hardware on all that stuff.
No, you got to pull the stops off of your jamb, and now we're going to turn the door thickness ultimately into, 2 1/8, 2 1/4, 2 1/2.
Yeah, and that would I think that would was made for this specialty.
Yeah.
Okay. I thank you for all your answers.
Yeah, right on. So I'm sending you an email with the catalog for the weather stripping, with a cut sheet of the construction of the door, and then a link to the factory finish guide. They've got the standard stuff. They can do any color that you can come up with. It doesn't matter. The cost will change a little for a custom color, but or we can just strip that all off. No pun intended. So have at it. This is a belt and suspenders approach, especially with the weather stripping. But if it was my opening in the Northeast, you know what? I'd kind of want it to not be freezing on the vestibule. And that weather stripping will certainly help. So you've got the catalog, and now you can get in there, do a find function on your keyboard for the part number, and it'll come up and you'll be able to see it.
Okay. The top just has the weather stripping at the stop and at the jam side, right? There's nothing. There's no spring system going in at the top, is there?
I do have it listed as having it up there as well.
Oh, so it would be the same system as the bottom?
No, it wouldn't be the same system as the bottom. It would be the same system as the vertical edges that will have that pile that you can
okay. I understand,
tailor its projection. We can do automatic door bottoms in the top rail as well. I've never personally done it, and I don't, because you have to route through the door, I don't want to see metal architectural end caps at the top of my door. I would rather do something a bit smaller, a bit more petite that I could disguise better in the fact that my vertical adjustable weather stripping on the meeting styles is going to run full height. And then I'm going to drop in my adjustable pile in between those routed channels. So I'm seeing a finished edge at the top. The bottom is going to have like a 2-inch by 2-inch, 1.5 by 1.5 plate to cover the automatic door bottom, but that's at the bottom. We'll have to sacrifice that to get the seal, basically.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So it's basically going to have like when you say belt suspend, it's actually going to be like a 3-prong system. It's going to be, I assume it's like three types of weather strip.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're going to have
at
the
the top.
vertical
At the
edges.
top, you got one on the stop. You got the 5 one on the stop, and then you have the one on the front. And correct.
Yes, that's correct. One is going to be on the soffit of the frame. One will be on the face of the stop. You'll have stuff mortised into the edges of the doors. And then you'll have that interlocking astragal on the exterior that will prevent that intrusion from getting in. And it's really, we're here in southern Florida, so we have to think along the lines of stopping horizontal rain. However, I'm from Chicago, and Chicago doesn't take a backseat to anyone when it comes to weather. So, we do, I do think of it in terms of belts and suspenders approaches, especially because it's material that's going to fatigue over time. Pile's going to get soft. Everything kind of wears out, and 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, it'd be nice to still have something intact.
It's pretty common to have 3 types of weather. But it's not it'll bind the doors up too much, do you?
No, not going to bind the doors at all, because the weather stripping on the soffit, you're going to create the contact when you install it. So you set that margin. The material that's on the face of the stop is silicone. It's highly compressible. The pile in the edge, you're going to set that projection. So it could be dialed back or it can be pushed out. And when you install the material, you're going to set all of that.
Okay.
Or you're going to look at the catalog and you're going to say, no, take that out. I don't want to put that piece there.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of like that fact that you took the time and did all that, because that one of the that was one of the issues they had with those doors was they were so bad. So well, I didn't actually think there was anything that could be done with that. So that's I think they would want to go with all that weather stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's a plus.
The problem is evident in the photographs. It's just the bottom line. And it's not this opening. It's every opening in the world. It's the front door of my shop. So, Anyway.
Right. Okay. If you could send those over to me, thank you.
Absolutely will. I will send you that, and we'll be standing by, sir. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program.